Hello and welcome to our 75-minute restorative yoga class for the Lengthen and Liberate series. Today's practice is going to be gentle, nourishing, and a beautiful opportunity for us to dwell in a space of peace and awareness. I invite you to get as many props as you like for this class, perhaps 4 blocks, a bolster, and join me in a comfortable seated position when you're ready. You might like to place one palm on the belly, the other on the heart space, closing the eyes, beginning to soften. Giving yourself permission to be here as you are, knowing that there's no need to try and change your experience. Simply being present, being curious, and perhaps inviting a loving compassion into your experience today. You might like to use this opportunity to set an intention for today's practice, or simply thank yourself for showing up. For our first posture, we're going to come into Restorative Child's Pose Balasana. So, big toes together, separating the knees slightly wider than hip width distance apart to allow space for the belly and the chest. And you might like to either use a block here and rest it under your forehead, or you could rest your belly and your chest on top of a bolster, knowing that you could always prop up the bolster with a block underneath if you'd like a little bit more elevation. Making this posture your own and settling in. If possible, seeing if you can relax the hips, relaxing the glutes, and noticing what's going on around the upper body. Might it be possible to soften the shoulders? Relax the back of the neck. Soften the arms. Allow yourself to become supple as you begin to gently guide your awareness to the breath. Reminding yourself that the breath is here for you as an anchor to lovingly guide you in a space of harmony to the present moment. If the mind had begun to wander, mindfully guiding your awareness to this posture, noticing how this position feels for you in this very moment. Gifting yourself one more tender and loving breath in child's pose. And gently placing your palms under the shoulders, using core and arm strength to slowly unravel the spine. Placing your props to the side, taking as much space and time as you would like. And we'll set up for head to knee pose, Janu Sirsasana, extending both legs out in front, lengthening the spinal column. We're going to keep our right leg extended, externally rotate the left hip, bend the left knee, and guide the sole of the left foot to the inner seam of that right thigh. You might like to place 2 blocks on your shin here, resting your forehead atop. Or again, you might like to use a bolster, allowing the spine to round, allowing the belly to soften. If you're having difficulty with this forward fold, it might be helpful to fold up a towel or a blanket and place it underneath your sits bones, helping to elevate your hips and facilitating a greater range of motion. You might like to close the eyes here. And if you're resting on your forearms, it might feel nice to have your palms facing skywards. That way you can really ensure that you're relaxing the muscles of the hands and the wrists, knowing that there's no need to press into the earth. Allow yourself to release all resistance. Let go of any inner conflict, any internal dialogue. It might be helpful to remind yourself that in these moments of stillness, we have the opportunity to cultivate flexibility of the mind, flexibility of our energetic presence, and our capacity to be aware of our emotions. Recognizing that the nature of flexibility exists beyond the physical realm. gifting yourself about 3 to 4 more loving breaths in this forward fold. Mindfully raising the torso, placing your accessories to the side, re-extending your left leg, taking any organic movement here. It might feel nice to externally and internally rotate the hips several times. And when you're ready, we'll set up for head to knee pose on the other side. Knowing that it is absolutely okay if you observe imbalances between the left and right sides of the body. Perhaps you feel more opened. Maybe you notice a sense of restriction. Whatever it is, being curious. Seeing what it would feel like to rest in a space of acceptance. Perhaps even the simple act of doing so could enable you to soften. Might this enable you to find peace? Noticing the breath. Noticing where the breath manifests for you in this posture. gifting yourself 2 more nourishing breaths in this restorative head to knee posture. Gently guiding the torso upright, placing your props to the side, again taking any movement that feels nourishing. From here, keeping the right leg extended, crossing the left knee over the right knee, coming into half cow face pose, Ardha Gomukhasana. Maybe placing a block on your shin, resting your forehead atop of that. If a forward fold is inaccessible, you could always simply keep the torso elevated and perhaps resting your forearms on 2 blocks. You might notice a tremendous stretch along the entire backside of that right leg, perhaps the upper back here, so really tune into the subtleties of your experience, knowing that there's no right or wrong. If you notice that a posture is incompatible with your energy levels for today, know that you can always modify. You can always come out of the posture and choose something that's more suitable, perhaps trying this on a later occasion. Remembering that you're never resigned to a single posture. This is your practice. Honor your experience, honor your intuitive leads, and settle in. gifting yourself one more loving breath in this forward fold. Placing the palms under the shoulders, raising the torso, moving your accessories to the side. Beautiful work. In your own time, setting up for half cow face pose on the other side. Seeing if you can breathe into the outer hips. Allow yourself to relax into this region before you come into a fold. Being gentle. If the mind begins to fatigue and you perhaps begin to question what you're doing in these long-held postures, take this opportunity to reaffirm your intention, reaffirm your inner courage and strength, your capacity to rise above any perceivable challenges. You are capable, you are calm, you are centered, and you can do this. Taking one more gentle breath in this forward fold. Seeing if you can fold a little more with this last exhalation. Release all tension from the body, from the mind. And in your own time, mindfully guiding yourself upright. Moving the props to the side. And we'll set up for supported hero pose. We're going to place 2 blocks behind us in the shape of a T. You could always place a bolster behind you and prop the bolster up on a block or 2 to add some elevation. We're going to come into a kneeling position, joining the inner thighs and the knees together, separating the shins slightly. If you wanted to, you could always simply place a block between your feet and rest in supported hero pose or supported diamond pose. If you'd like to take it further, removing that block, scooping out the fleshy portions of your thighs and placing your glutes down between your feet. The toes are pointed backwards. And beginning to lower down onto your forearms and mindfully adjusting the block so that the first block is positioned between the shoulder blades, running the length of the vertebral column, and the other block is parallel with the short edge of the mat, resting at the base of your head. You might like to cactus the arms out wide, palms facing skywards, perhaps joining the arms together overhead, or extending the arms the length of the body, really seeing what feels right for you. Feeling a beautiful expansion around the heart space. If you notice any sharp or painful sensations around the knees, perhaps this posture isn't ideal for you and you can always come up into a cross-legged seated position or simply perform the back bend with your legs extended. If you notice after a few breaths that the blocks are feeling a little awkward, feel free to adjust them. Sometimes it takes a little tweaking, a little getting used to. Find what works for you and begin to settle in. Mindfully guiding your awareness to this posture. Taking one more loving breath. And gently using the strength of your forearms and your palms to help elevate the torso. Coming up into a kneeling position. Returning the sits bones to the earth, perhaps extending the legs out in front and finding some movement here. If you were using a bolster or blocks, keeping those as they were. And we'll again come into a reclined heart opener. And this time we will add butterfly posture to our lower body. So if you still have 2 blocks available, we're going to join the soles of our feet together. Bending the knees, allowing the knees to splay wide, and we'll place a block under either knee or perhaps the outer thigh. This is really helping us to open up the hips without putting any additional pressure on the knees. If you don't have any blocks, know that you could always place some rolled up towels or a blanket around this region. Giving yourself permission to soften into the groin. Allow the inner thighs to lengthen. Relax the outer hips, the glutes. Finding stillness. Taking one more mindful breath in this restorative butterfly pose. Using inner thigh strength to gently close the knees, placing the palms on the earth, mindfully elevating the torso, coming upright into a cross-legged position. Taking your time. Beautiful work. From here, we will move our blocks or accessories to the side, ensuring that you have enough space behind you, and we're going to roll down onto our backs. It might be helpful to place your palms under the thighs here and use core strength to help you lower down. We're going to come into supported bridge pose, Setu Bandha Sarvangasana. So you have the option to place a block or two, or perhaps a bolster underneath the sacral region of your spine, lifting up the pelvis. And we want to ensure that we're lengthening the glutes away from the torso so that we're finding length in the lower back. If it's in your practice, you might like to play around with extending one leg at a time, maybe both. Or if you prefer, keeping the knees bent, keeping the knees hip-width distance apart and having your feet flat on the earth, ankles underneath the knees. Feeling a beautiful release for the front of the hips, in particular the hip flexors, the psoas. Allowing the shoulders to melt towards the earth. You might like to extend the arms, having the palms facing skywards. And seeing if you can create a little bit of space in between the chin and the chest so that you're not compressing the throat. Settling in. Great job. From here, we are going to come into supported wind relieving posture. You have the option to keep the props as they are. If you're using 2 blocks, you might like to lower to 1, see how you go. We will start by mindfully drawing both of the knees to the chest, ensuring that you are well established on your accessory. And from here, interlacing your fingers together around your right shin, guiding the right knee towards the right armpit, extending the left leg, grounding down through the left heel. And without forcing anything, seeing if you can keep the left toes and the left kneecap facing skywards. Feeling a beautiful release for the hips here. Allowing yourself to soften. Using the arms for support without overly exerting them to get that knee close towards your chest. Finding a stable equilibrium. Gifting yourself one more loving breath in this supported wind relieving posture. And gently bending the left knee, guiding the left knee to the chest. And we'll take this pose on the other side. This is a great posture for digestion. This can also be a really nourishing posture in the evening if you're wanting to wind down after a big day. Noticing how the posture makes you feel today. Noticing if there are any triggers, any narratives that are coming to the surface. Simply giving them space to be and peacefully detaching, as you guide your awareness to the breath. Taking one more gentle breath in this supported Pawamuktasana posture. Drawing both knees to the chest and gently returning the soles of the feet to the earth. Raising the pelvis, moving your accessories to the side. Beautiful work. You might like to take a moment to feel the connection between your back and the mat or the earth. When you're ready, we'll set up for our final two relaxation postures, coming into a supine spinal twist, placing your accessories on the left side of your body at around about hip height. We're going to bend the right knee to the chest, extend the left leg, and use the left palm to guide the right knee over to the left, allowing the shin, the knee, or the inner thigh to rest atop of your accessories as you mindfully gaze to the right. If possible, keeping both shoulders connected to the earth, noticing perhaps a release around the outer hips, the lower to mid back. Noticing how this posture feels for you and finding stillness. gifting yourself one more loving breath in this supine spinal twist. Seeing if you can soften into the outer hips. Oftentimes, it's in these last few moments when we know we're about to stop that we can truly give ourselves permission to soften. And gently releasing, drawing both knees to the chest. This time, placing your accessories on the right-hand side of your hip. And we'll set up for this supine stretch on the other side. Taking any organic movement in between if that serves you. Offering yourself a few more breaths in this twist. And gently unraveling, taking your time. Drawing the knees to the chest. It might feel nice to circle the knees in one direction and the other. And we'll set up for final relaxation, Shavasana. If you'd like a release for the lower back, perhaps placing blocks under each knee or a bolster. You might like to grab a blanket here, an eye mask. Give yourself permission to find a true state of comfort, of support, Know that you are safe. Allowing the legs and the arms to soften. Allowing the shoulders to melt into the earth. Relaxing the forehead. Relaxing the skull. Relaxing the muscles around the eyes. Allowing the eyes to rest in their respected sockets. Noticing what's happening in the mouth. Relaxing the lips. Softening the inner cheeks. Relaxing the teeth. Allowing the tongue to become still. And mindfully guiding your awareness to each region of the body. Becoming aware of the subtlest experiences. Not labeling. Simply observing. Using the breath here to support you. Knowing that you could always recite an affirmation or reconnect with your intention, or simply relax, knowing that there's nowhere you need to be and there's nothing you need to do. Allow yourself to dwell here in a space of serenity and trust. We will close practice today in Shavasana. I invite you to rest here for as long as you like. Listen to your body. Thank yourself for cultivating the space to be present, to offer yourself a true moment of loving compassion. You are exactly where you need to be. There is so much love and support here for you. Know that this practice will always be here for you. Congratulate yourself for progressing through this series. I send you all of my love and light. May you experience true peace and joy. Namaste.